FinsCast.
What's up, guys? Another episode of FinsCast, joined by Jay Ramos, Eric Elizondo, and I'm Michael Sumbe. We're going to discuss another week of Miami Dolphins football, another bad week of Miami Dolphins football, and let's get right into it. Let's just talk about the first of all, like the whole game. Jay, what were your thoughts on the game?
It was one of the worst things to happen in my life as a sports fan. I think, me being somebody who was being a 90s kid. I mean, some Dolphins fans may be able to go back farther, but as far as an opener, I mean, losing to the Texans in 2003 was pretty crappy to open the season because they were bad, but it wasn't a blowout. It's bad, man. I remember the Heat getting blown out the year after they won the championship, the first game to Chicago in 07. But this is just, it was, I mean, I remember, I rushed home from work and got food, and by the time I sat down, and it was already 7-0, and it was like 13 minutes left, and it just didn't get better. So I don't know if there's anything more to say about it as a whole, my reaction.
Eric?
The first half might have been I have ever seen.
Me too.
There was no structure. It was, you can't pass, you can't run, you can't defend the run, you can't defend the pass. It was just, I was so embarrassed as a fan, actually. I just sat home, and thankfully only my girl was here, but I was just like, wow. I didn't even say anything. I didn't know what to say. So that was just disappointing to see that. I think maybe the last time I was that disappointed was a few years ago when they just had a few games to win just to get into the playoffs. But
I try to block that out of my memory.
Yeah, and so, but it's just laying a big egg on your home field, renovated stadium, first game, it was bad.
I mean, yeah, like you said, that was probably the worst half of football I'd ever seen. College, NFL, high school, anything. Like, that was so bad. And I had just went to the UCF Furman game 2 weeks ago or whatever, and I thought that was the worst football I'd ever seen. It took 2 weeks for me to change my mind. I mean, Jay, what do you think made it so bad? Like, would you put it more on the coaching or the players?
Yeah, the thing for me is I'm very at peace with everything because things are clear as day to me. Things are extremely clear about what the issue is. I don't have any questions. I don't think it's that complex. I think I read an article by, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Cian from Bleacher Report. You know what I'm talking about, Eric?
Yeah, I know who he is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he really broke down coming into the game how bad Coyle and Laser have been in terms of not utilizing efficient things. And I'm always the type of guy who doesn't want to blame coaches. I'm always a guy that talent wins. For the most part, coaches are the same, and great quarterbacks and very talented teams are probably going to win most of the time. But there are anomalies. There are anomalies, and there are exceptions. And in this case, to me, it's very clear that coaching is the issue. It starts with the head coach, obviously. And I mean, overall, you just asked me about coaching, and I'm sure we'll break down every one. But that's, as far as the issue of why they lost this game, I'm very, very clear that this isn't a talent issue. And I think picking on Bryce McCain and picking on Dallas Thomas and picking on Koamisi is missing the point.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if, again, it goes on to whether it's Coyle or McCain.
That's missing the point. If Bryce McCain, listen, come on, man. The Dolphins roster,
they're not playing him at his position.
All right, well, yeah, so that's what it is, right? Bryce McCain's a nickel, right? I mean,
and they're playing on the outside.
I just think it's silly because it's like it's like you can pick on. Of course they don't. Of course they're not great at every spot. I mean, of course there's a salary cap, and you have Ndamukong Suh and Cam Wake and Earl Mitchell and Ryan Tannehill and Jordan Cameron and Mike Pouncey and Brandon Albert and Brent Grimes and Rashad Jones. Of course you have to have some filler. That's a coaching thing. You scheme, or every single team has a liability somewhere. Not every team doesn't have a Pro Bowler at every spot. So I think picking on the 2 or 3 bad eggs on the Dolphins is missing the entire point about how the schematic process, and the game plan is the issue here. Because we can also talk about how great Brent Grimes looks, and how Ryan Tannehill's been good and this and that. But yeah, I just think that's missing the point. So I think I'm clear as day that the great majority of this is a coaching issue.
What can they do to fix it, though, Eric? Besides firing everybody, like what can this coaching staff do to like?
Well, offensively, I think they can do a lot of things. I think they need to run the ball a lot more. I'm not saying running, every down, but last year they ran the ball with much success, and you can even make a case that they should have ran the ball even more last year. I think it was Oscar that pointed out their first drive of the game, Lamar got a 5-yard carry. The next 2 plays, they went empty set, 5 wide, nobody in the backfield.
We could find so many of those yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I just think they need to have they just feel like they don't know what they're doing. It's just kind of play to play, and so maybe they should come in with an actual game plan of, okay, let's run. Let's move the pocket, but you can only move the pocket if if there's a threat that you can actually run the ball. When you go 5 wide, I just feel like they can tee on Tannehill, and it's you don't want Buffalo doing all that against the team. There's just too many issues right now. I mean, you can't really pinpoint things. I mean, the defense gets scored on every game this year. The first drive, the team gets put in bad positions. They're always playing from behind. I think they're one of the top 5 teams that majority of their plays are coming from behind. So
I feel like that's been going on most of the Philbin era, though. Am I wrong?
I think I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Ndamukong Suh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Kevin Coyle about this. Like, there has to be. What's more credible, the Dolphins' talent or the coaching staff? Where is there more credibility?
Yeah.
I'm going to trust that Suh is not the problem. I'm going to trust that the best defensive tackle in the last 20 years is not the problem. I'm going to trust that. You're going to trust that he'll forget how to play at age 28.
Yeah, and I don't think he played too bad actually this last game.
He was creating some double teams. Like, they were doubling him at some points, and then I don't know, they just couldn't get to the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's been an issue.
I was reading a stat today that Ryan Tannehill was rushed 18 times on Sunday, and the Dolphins only rushed Tyrod Taylor 3 times.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I did see that.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I mean that just, I don't know. I mean,
yeah. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing that's discouraging is, let's talk offense first. Last season, they didn't. Lamar, we wanted Lamar to get a few more carries, but he was getting plenty of looks between the tackles. They were running a lot of. Remember the read option they were running,
and
with and Tannehill's a threat to run, and the corner has to account for that, and it was pretty simple stuff, and it's working so well. And I believe coming into the game, they were throwing on 74% of the plays, and it's almost like they, and it's a Joe Philbin thing first and foremost, but of course Bill Lazor's calling the plays. It's so strange. And even this year with Lamar struggling, he came in averaging, according to the splits on NFL.com, 4.3 yards a carry on inside runs, and it's so odd and so bizarre. that it's not a talent issue. It's so bizarre to me. It's so bizarre how, and I'm starting to think that if the organization is analytically inclined, or if Mike Tannenbaum, if the sports, if they have a sports, I mean, I know sports science isn't the same, but if they have an analytics department crunching numbers, how does the organization continue to permit them to run inefficient offense, statistically, objectively inefficient offense? It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's like no way to explain it, like you said. I mean, I guess we can just come to the solution that it's a coaching problem.
I
Yes.
think so. I mean, of course, there's some players that aren't executing, of course. Um,
I mean, I think it goes. I mean, on offense, we know
I don't
the
know, man, but
Dolphins.
I'll give the benefit of the doubt to Lamar Miller, Ryan Tannehill, Dominican Sue, Cam Wake. I mean, I don't, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's just bizarre because last year we wanted, it was better. It's bizarre how they went away from the run even more when they already weren't committed to it. It's just so bizarre. It's so bizarre.
And I even feel
Yeah.
like there was a point in yesterday's game where like Jonas Gray got like 6 straight carries, and like they just went away from Lamar Miller. I don't know if you guys remember that, and I think it was the time where I don't know, some point in the game. I don't know, in my mind, I'm trying to block out the game, but
Yeah.
there was a point where like Lamar was just on the sideline and Jonas Gray was getting carries, and I think it was in the first half. I think it was the drive where Tannehill threw the first pick or the second pick or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be true. I mean, they should be running enough where both of them need carries. It's almost getting to the point where we might have to actually say, this coaching staff, maybe they don't like Lamar Miller. Maybe they don't have faith in him.
Or they just don't want him to get a huge contract and have
No,
that managed
It's not a
contract.
contract thing because, I mean, if they were worried about the contract, they would just run him into the ground and not worry about paying him next year. But
Yeah, I was kidding. I was
they
kidding.
don't trust him. Honestly, I mean, Laser doesn't trust the run game. If they get 2 or 3 yards, he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to go away from it." He just needs to stick to it. The offense, they're predictable. That's the other thing too that I don't like, and they're just putting Tannehill in positions and where he can't succeed. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He can't drop back 60 times a game like Tom Brady either. He needs help, and versus the Jaguars, he had no help, and we still couldn't get a win. So I mean, there's just so many issues. With the offensive line not protecting, can't run block, can't run successfully. There's drops from their receivers. There's some missed throws even by the quarterback. There's just a lot of issues, but it definitely starts with the coaching.
Jay, you want to pick up on that?
yeah, I mean, I can't get into all the X's and O's, you know what I mean? But we can look at the facts. Like I said, the statistics that show what you show, and it's as simple as running the ball more. It's as simple as running the ball more. It's not a Tannehill issue. It's not a wide receiver talent issue. Pass protection is not good. That's fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The
Pass
offensive line
protection's
was
not good.
awful. They were awful on Sunday.
Well, that's what happens when you lose your left tackle and
Yeah.
and
I guess that was predictable coming into the game.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's why I predicted them to lose on our last podcast.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, they played right into the Bills' strengths yet again and again. I mean, it can't happen that way.
And another thing that made me mad about Coyle, I don't know if you guys read that quote, that they didn't like prepare for the Bills to throw that much, that they thought they were just gonna run it down, and then the Bills come in and start the game with like 5 straight passes. Did you see that quote by Coyle where he says
I did.
we didn't expect? I'll try to get the full quote, but he was like, I didn't expect we didn't expect the Bills to run a lot. I mean, to pass a lot, and then they come out and go 5 for 5 on the first drive.
Yeah, but they stayed pretty balanced too. They were running the ball as well. I
Yeah,
mean,
that Carlos Williams, man, that guy.
yeah, he killed the Dolphins. He was dragging
No, the
guys. I
dude's
mean,
a bruiser, man.
McCoy played hurt, and you could tell he didn't play very good. He didn't even have like maybe 2 yards per carry. So he wasn't a factor.
How about Richie Incognito having a great game?
Good for him.
Charles Clay having a touchdown, and then my
Good
favorite
for him.
Chris Hogan getting a touchdown.
Good for him. They deserve it.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, that Charles Clay made a fool of the Dolphins on the first drive. Did you see that first drive? Oh no, Jay, you said you were out.
I missed the first drive, yeah.
I saw it.
Charles Clay made a fool of the Dolphins.
I mean, the Bills still overpaid him, and he still has knee issues. It's just he played the worst defense in the league, so I don't know. I'm not gonna make a big thing about that.
No. I just thought it was funny. I just thought the whole game was comedy from the coin toss when Rex Ryan sent all the former Dolphins to be captains.
Yeah, no, Clay. I mean, Clay was. I think he was only used primarily on that first drive. I think he was quiet after that.
Yeah, he didn't do much
So,
after.
I mean, that tells me that they scripted it that way.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he killed the Dolphins on that first drive. It was like watching, like college football. One team just took the ball and drove it down, and it was like the easiest thing ever. I was just like, that shouldn't be that easy.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we can just jump into. I mean, we covered coils, we covered laser. Why don't we just jump into Philbin? Do you guys have a timetable on his tenure? When is it over?
Yeah, I mean, you let him finish it out because there's nothing. I mean,
if they get blown out on Sunday, can you see them firing him in the bye week?
No. But Stephen Ross has never been impulsive.
I know.
And I don't think he's gonna start now. My issue is this. I'll ask both of you this, because I never liked Joe Philbin, right? I never did, and I'll get into that for a second. But even with that being said, I used to always say everybody's like, oh, they start slow because Philbin's doesn't get them ready because he doesn't motivate them, and I think that's crap, because you can't prove it. But Jesus Christ, at what point is this just come on, man? What is there a way to measure this? Why is this happening every single game? And it is literally every game.
I think
the beginning thing. I mean, the losing in the
And I don't think that has anything to do with motivation. I think it has something to do with the game plan. What are you going to come out doing right away? I mean, I don't think he has a clue. I think he kind of plays it by ear. I think that's why they always kind of start slow. But I mean, if it's continuing to happen, he has to get blamed for it. And I was the same way.
Yeah, I mean, but you remember last year how they would come out in the second half and play great?
They even did it this year for the first two games. I mean, they didn't play great, but they were playing much better in the second half.
Defensively, at least.
I think last year there was a number last year thrown out they were the highest scoring third quarter team or one of the best. So I mean, I think that's just because they always kicked off to start the game and got the ball back at the third quarter. So maybe
and then they change it up. They get the ball first this game, and then
3 and out.
They drop 40. They go 3 and out, and then they got 42 dropped on them. 41.
Here's my thing. Tell me, I don't know if either of you, or I know probably Mike, but I don't know, Eric, what your thoughts of in 2012 when they hired him. My main issue is I like identity. I like for a team in general to have identity. They hired an offensive. Well, he had the title of offensive coordinator who didn't call plays, and he was hired because Carl Peterson said it was a great interview. And so basically, man, and I like Stephen Ross, but basically, the interview was great, and he was around Aaron Rodgers, so this is a good idea, right? Because there was no tangible evidence, other than those two things, that there was an identity, either an offensive or a defensive philosophy to hang your head on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we knew he was going to run a West Coast, and we knew he came from a passing offense, and obviously he's a finesse coach. But when your identity is, we're going to be the least penalized team, and we're going to start, and we're going to start practice on time every day. That's not. I mean, that's like a secretary or a special assistant to a coach. You know what I'm saying? So I never liked him from an identity standpoint. And never mind the fact that he's clumsy and he can't speak publicly and he's aloof and he's not good looking. Never mind that. Never mind. No, never mind that. Never mind that because that's a bias. No, no, listen. No, for real, I'm trying to be serious. That's a bias. I'm willing. It's okay if I don't like a coach personally, but he brings a skip. He doesn't have to be a motivator and a fire breather. He could be quiet as Tony Dungy, but if he bring quiet as Bill Belichick and not motivational and clumsy and all that, that's just personal dislike. But if you bring a schematic, a schematic value to the table, then that's what's going to make you good. But he just obviously he has no way to take control of a defense with the sink shipping. I mean, with the ship sinking because he's not a defensive mind, and when the offensive ship is sinking, he just wants to keep his old friend, and they force him to bring in Laser, and it's ship, sinking again, and he has no adjustment to make. He's a secretary, and he probably shouldn't even be in that spot, and that's my thing with Philbin. And I was hoping the coordinators and the talent were enough to save him, and he could be a figurehead. I was trying to be fair. I haven't called for his head in 3.5. Everybody wanted him gone last year. I said, you know what, I don't like him, but I understand the fourth year, and see it through, and maybe the coordinators, maybe he'll make good decisions, but I don't know, man. If you like him, Eric, or I don't know, man. I just never.
But when he was hired, I was actually okay with it. I don't think I struggled too much at the end of last. I think I was more opposed to keeping him. I think the year that we didn't make the playoffs, I think I was more torn down about that epic collapse than anything. I was actually okay with him coming back this year, but looking back, it definitely it doesn't look good. I don't like playing hindsight, but I said this last night that Dolphins hired a first-time head coach, no experience. They hired a first-time defensive coordinator, no experience. They hired Bill Lazor. Now he has offensive coordinator experience in college.
Yeah, he has Sherman.
Oh yeah, he had Sherman too. I mean, as far as these guys though, right now, and Lazor had experience in college, but never calling a pro game. And I think it's a lot different when you have to call plays and being a quarterback coach. It's obviously much different. So it hasn't worked out. That's just the bottom line. And I know sometimes coaches got to get their first start to see if they're going to be good. You got to look at like.
I think Lazor was good last year. That's why it's bizarre, right?
And that is bizarre. And they ran it well. And I could get a whole podcast about just running the football and just making it simple. So.
But tell me, why were you okay with Philbin, and what did you think he was going to bring? Because what did they besides he was in the same room as Aaron Rodgers? What did he do? Or what was his history besides being an offensive line coach?
And that's the concerning part too, is he has an offensive line background, and the offensive line sucks. Let's just be honest. So I think the reason why he came back is because even though all odds were against Ryan Tannehill to succeed, he still got better every year a little bit. And I think that's the main reason why he came back.
I mean, I'm sure he had a little bit to do with that, but it's just... I don't know, man. I mean, how much interaction does the head coach actually have with the hands-on with the quarterback? Not much, right? I mean, it's mostly David Lee and Mike Sherman who are working with Ryan. It's kind of weird.
But I also think, like, going in, when Philbin got hired, we didn't even know what to expect. Because all we knew, he held the offensive coordinator position. And
he had no identity.
And he had no identity. He held an offensive coordinator position, but didn't call plays. So, I mean, we just didn't know what to expect from him.
I mean, technically he has identity. I mean, the West Coast concepts that he likes, you know what I mean, that he just brought from Green Bay. But, the last two head coaches have actually been non-play calling, non-innovative, non-inventive former O-line coaches. They have different styles, but it's been, maybe the next time they bring in a coach, they should have somebody with an identity on one side of the football that you can hang your hat on, that brings an actual schematic advantage, not a leader of men or not a motivator or not an organizer or a secretary, but somebody who actually brings you a tangible schematic advantage. That would be nice.
Well, let's say the offense goes back to what it was last year, but the Dolphins still don't make the playoffs and Philbin goes. Would you be okay with Lazor becoming head coach?
No.
Probably not.
I think he should be a QB coach somewhere.
Oh no, I mean I don't know. I'm still not. I'm not gonna take his head. I'm not gonna. He was good
I
last
think,
year.
yeah, I thought he was good last year. I liked the offense. We were all excited about Brian Tannehill would do in year two of the offense. I mean, again, I
Oh
don't
man,
know.
Ryan was so amazing against Jacksonville.
Yeah, he was. He
I,
really
I,
was.
I mean, for what he had, I don't think he was too awful yesterday too. Obviously,
Nah, he.
the box score didn't look well, but I mean, like,
Yeah, I haven't rewatched the game. I'm about to maybe here later on, but
I can't.
I
I
mean
cannot. I
nobody
can't.
played good.
yeah.
Hey, but listen.
Rashard
Here's a.
Matthews. Can we talk about how right I was about Rashard Matthews, Jay?
Sure, but it's a volume thing more than it is. Like Devontae Parker needs to play more.
I
Number
think I
one.
think the starter should be Matthews, Parker, and Laser. Not Laser. God, Landry. I think those should be the three starters.
That's fair. That's fair. And Richard is, one of Jeff Ireland's acorns.
Uh,
Yeah, seventh round pick out of Nevada. I like Richard. I know you guys know Jared. I'm pretty sure from Twitter.
Of
mhm.
I don't
course,
know
of
if you guys
course.
know, and he's always been a big Richard guy. And I it was weird. When you search your name on Twitter, you can see what you tweeted before.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, I don't remember tweeting this. I was like, I was actually big on Richard Matthews, kind of. So I was like, all right. So it's a volume thing, but Richard, you got to give him credit. He is making some plays. He sometimes might have a questionable, tough drop that he has, but
Mhm.
good for him. Um,
I
him and
think
Tannehill have always had that little chemistry though too.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, even the past years when he wouldn't get snaps, when he did get the snaps, he'd be productive.
Yeah, and
2013, yeah.
he shields his body really well. He uses it very well. And I mean, he's a lot better than Brian Hartline ever will be. Put it that way.
And he, like, his first touchdown yesterday, he got up and got it. Like, that was a nice play. And
I don't
then
really, hey, I don't really appreciate the Brian Hartline hate though. I don't really appreciate that. I think he's a solid number three, bad number two, but he was a good fourth round pick, man.
and the
I
problem
mean,
is he was a one year. Like, he
he
tried to
was a
put
one
him
a couple
as a
times.
one.
That's not his fault though. I mean, that's
Yeah,
not
no,
his fault.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I guess most people didn't like him. I don't
Yeah.
know. But anyway, and then Tannehill and Matthews connected on that deep ball. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a
Totally
broken
random.
broken
It
play.
was such a random, yeah, it was such a random.
Random, but the result will be played. I mean, he connected on a deep pass. He
Yeah,
connected on a deep pass.
But
yeah,
and then the critics are probably saying it was a garbage time deep ball touchdown.
yeah. Richard bailed him out.
Yeah.
Had to go down and get it. What do you guys think about Kenny Stills? I mean, I can't figure what's going on with him. How they're using him I mean, they just have him running one route. It feels like maybe you're targeting him on one route.
I think he got something like, didn't he get like 30 some snaps yesterday?
Did he?
He played more. I think he
A
played.
very quiet one.
He didn't see many
But
targets.
this is where, again, I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt
Yes. Oh no, I'm not talking
to
smack
him.
on Kenny.
No,
it's
I
not
got
Kenny.
you. I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Kenny that, you know, he ran more routes in New Orleans last year, and he even worked the middle of the field last year for New Orleans at times. So they buried him. They buried him. Hopefully he doesn't demand a trade like Richard did when he got buried. But
Well,
you know,
I think he's been like publicly said I have to accept that I'm not gonna start or whatever. So I think he's in better. He knows his role.
he's a
Oh,
starting talent, man. He's a starting talent.
Yeah, and I think they should. I mean, this is back to the coaching again. They need a scheme plays for him to get open deep, not just line up out, run a 9, see ya. It doesn't work that way sometimes. You need to find a way to get him open and help him out. So that's because he's a valuable asset, and he'll open up a lot of things. We all, most of us don't like Mike Wallace, but he opened up the offense, and I
Yeah.
think Kenny Stills can too. So I think they need to use more of them. I cringe every time I see Stoneburner lined up in the slot. I'm like, you can have a wide receiver there. You don't need to have him there.
That's fair.
I don't know. Well, talking about wide receivers, what do you guys think of like the Greg Jennings situation now? Like, he's not been good at all, and he's continuing to get snaps.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, I didn't mind the signing, but Devontae has to play. Devontae has to play. Kenny
we
has to
all
play.
we all like the signing, and maybe he's good in that wide receiver meeting room, but he's been real bad on the field. And Jay said, it's time to make him if they go 5 wide and no backs on the field, have him play a few snaps. But like you said, Kenny and Devontae, they need to play now. Get your playmakers on the field. Let's go. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it. There's arguably, 5 better wide receivers on the roster?
Nah, let's not go too far. He's better than Matt Hazel.
Yeah, the Hazel. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, let's tone it down. I mean, he was decent in Minnesota last year. I mean,
it was good in Minnesota
he
last
just
year.
happened. No, yeah, he just happens to be on one of the 5 most talented receiving corps in the game. I don't think that's a knock on him, but we have to just recognize that there's two talents that are better right now than him.
Yeah, those
that aren't
drops
playing.
yesterday, those were. I mean, out of all the receivers, that's the thing with his veteran presence. You wouldn't think he'd drop those, but he's dropping them.
Yeah, stuff is overstated, man.
Jarvis has bad back-to-back weeks, 2 key drops.
Yeah.
Well,
He does too.
the drop in Jacksonville, and then that ball, that with Tannehill's first pick, it was thrown right into his chest, and then I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean it's when it's rock bottom right now.
When it rains, it pours.
It's yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we go the outlook of what's to come on not only the Jets game but just the rest of the season? What do you think, Eric?
Well, they're 1-2. It's a bad 1-2. The worst 1-2 you can probably have. There's a little slight hope in me. If they come out and beat the Jets, I'm not confident in all. But being 2-2, I think they have a bye week, right? After the Jets, they got a bye. Maybe just maybe they can fix this shit. Or actually, I don't know if I should swear, but maybe they can fix it and and get going. I mean, I said today, Dolphins make playing football hard. They really do. It's suffocating. They just it's bad. So 1-3. There's going to be panic. Obviously, I'm not one of those where let's play bad on purpose so we can get the best draft pick. Just go out there and play. But if you go 1-3, there's no way they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win 6 or 7 games, and there's going to be a new head coach and a new coaching staff next year. So I mean, an ounce of me has positivity right now. If they can get 2-2, and you never know what'll happen, but I'm not confident in it.
2-2, and then a very winnable game coming off the bye versus Tennessee. So I mean,
I think all of them are winnable, really, except for at road games at Buffalo and at New England. But
I don't know. I think Houston could be tough too, though.
Yeah, they'll be tough. But I mean, that's my outlook. I mean, you go 2-2, you never know. I'm not real confident, but 1-3, and I'm just like, damn.
I'll have some source of security if they go into the bye week 2-2. I won't be as disappointed as I am right now. That's for sure. Just gut out a win versus the Jets, and whatever. Take that week off, and then figure out what the hell went wrong.
I'm ready to let go.
No.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the reasoning behind it, right? Not because I think they're gonna go 4-12. I just they have enough talent to rally like they did last year, and they have the schedule to do it too. Last year they started 1-2 and won 3 straight. And can they go 9-7 and squeeze into the playoffs? Sure. It's possible that Ryan Tannehill's greatness And if the defensive line gets going, it's possible. It's possible. Is that in the best interest of the long-term future of this franchise? If that means the process, if it means the game day process continues to be this deficient in the future, no. So I think, you know, I'm the type of guy that I think sometimes rooting for the team to lose is being a fan. So I'm a fan of them. I want them to get better. So wanting them to lose probably assures that they change coaching staffs. I mean, if they win, of course I'll be happy. But you know, I won't be surprised either way. They have a lot of talent. I thought they would win 9 or 10 games before the year. It's still possible. It's less likely, but it's still possible. But I'm okay with letting go. I'm okay with just if they lose. I mean, I'm not. You know, the game day process is objectively bad, and you have an an old man coaching who appears to be very very unwilling to change how he does things. Extremely unwilling to change how he does things on game day. Um, and you have a defensive coordinator with the same thing. So you know, I'm not going to think that this guy is going to change after he's shown us 30. I'm sorry, what 45 games of I'm not willing to change. So I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go.
That's fair. I can't
You know,
I
here's the
can't argue
positive.
against
Give me one more week. Give me one more week.
Here's
I'm
here's
the
the
one more
positive
guy
thing,
too,
man.
but
The positive thing is Ryan Tannehill will outlive Joe Philbin, and for the first time since 1998, 1997, 96, you have a quarterback in his prime, age 27, under control for 6 years. A very talented quarterback. I mean, it's a little bit controversial. Some people don't think he's quite, up there. Most people would agree he's above average, but you have the most important position locked in, and you have a very good base of young weapons around him, and that is going to last. And quarterbacks age well, so that's gonna last longer than the ineptitude of this staff. So I think long term we're fine. You know, it's not. We're Dolphins fans. We're used to bad seasons. Where our whole life has been that. What's one more? So
yeah.
Death.
it can be positive in the end.
So why don't we touch up on the subject that seemed to outweigh the Dolphins' loss was Miko Grimes being arrested yesterday before the game. Like, was yesterday like the most embarrassing home opener you can ever have?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I told you, Beak, on that tweet, I was like, what a time to be alive.
What a time, yeah. I mean, like when I went to the Marlins opening day and they had a rain delay in their closed roof stadium, they had a player dive for a ball and hold his glove up for like 10 seconds thinking he had the ball in his glove while it was like 50 feet behind him. And the Dolphins found a way to be
I don't know if you guys.
worse than that.
I don't know if you guys remember though when the Heat had a ring ceremony to open the 06-07 season, the Bulls beat them by 30 on their home floor. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's also a pretty bad memory.
But at least,
yeah.
at least the Heat like made it to the playoffs that year. I know they got swept. Didn't they get swept by Chicago that season too?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But listen, I mean, as far as Miko Grimes is concerned, man, I hope it works out. You know, she got bailed out, and I hope what I'm saying that.
Part of me feels bad, like just like typically bad. I've never had like a bad experience with Miko. I just think like everyone else, I think she's annoying. Like she's giving me tickets before the games. Like she's never been rude to me. She's actually been like really nice. Yeah, she's been really nice to me.
Listen, she's a nice lady. She's just a sports fan, and most sports fans don't know what they're talking about. You know, so I mean.
She's a sports fan. The thing is, she's a sports fan who doesn't know who she's talking about, who's married to one of the most liked players on the team.
Yeah, but that's not her. I mean, there is 1,000 Mikos on Twitter right now that we talk with every day, and you know what I mean? She just happens to be married to Brent, so we get angry at her. You know what I mean? But she's
I think a big part of it, we get angry at her because I mean, she's like some sort of a public figure. She has a radio show and she goes and trashes Tannehill.
I don't. You know what, man? I don't blame her for that. I blame 560 for that, man. I blame Omar Kelly. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Miko Grimes. I'm not mad at her.
No, I'm not mad at her either. But anyway, just hope it works out for her. Like
me too. Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, we don't need anybody to get arrested, and we don't need that.
Yeah,
Eric,
as a parent myself, I feel for her because her kids,
yeah,
have to go through that.
her son watched it. That's the
Yeah,
sad part.
and so I'm pretty sure Dolphins players saw it too, and maybe their kids are talking about it. It doesn't look good. From a personal standpoint, I've never really at Miko before. I've retweeted some thoughts that some Atlanta fans said about her,
Hmm.
and I was blocked one day when I clicked on her profile. Um, I don't wish that on anybody, even maybe your worst enemy. I just hope she gets good, and just maybe I hope everything works out. That's probably the best I can say.
It just looks so like it just looked bad on Brent, I guess, more even the organization.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
It's a bad look. I mean, there's no denying that.
I mean, one thing, getting arrested for one thing, but getting arrested at the stadium before the
Yeah,
home opener, it was just
yeah. There's a bad omen maybe too.
yeah. All right, well, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching.